Righteous Jules, and you're tuned in to your Conscious Podcast. First off, I would like to say welcome back. This is the first episode in this new year, and we're 2 months in. So, Happy New Year to all my listeners. I hope your year has started off well. It's been very busy for me personally, and I wanted to have a conversation today. I have someone here with me that is going to give us a little insight as to some of the events and some things that have been taking place over the last month in the conversation of love. There's an event that takes place every year, which my listeners should be familiar with, called Love, Lies, and Liberation. So, yes, this is another relationship conversation, but it's a necessary conversation that we need to constantly revisit in order to fix our relationships and our families in this latter day. So, I want to bring on with me today Reverend Dr. A.J. Varma, also known as Basesh Haruhotep-Tar, and he's no stranger to the Vantage Point. Welcome and thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
This, for me, is a very exciting, interesting conversation, right? Because every year during Love, Lies, Liberation, there's a lot of things that's said that takes people, it takes them aback, like, whoa, I can't believe he said that. What's going on? So now is the time to kind of bring clarity to those things. And then I also understand that 5 weeks is not enough time to cover everything that you want to cover.
Right, that's definitely.
So a lot of things get left out. So we want to kind of bring those things to the forefront that you were not able to speak about this year during Love, Lies, Liberation. And then one more thing, there's a workbook which everyone has been asking about, which we offer as a free workbook for those who participated in the Love, Lies, Liberation event. So we want to use this as an opportunity to present the workbook and kind of just give people an understanding of what this workbook entails, how it can benefit you if you go through the workbook, answer the questions, what you should be thinking about in order to get the correct result from those questions that are being asked. Right?
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I know it's a lot, so we'll do our best with the time that we have. So first off, what do you feel were the results of this year's Love, Lies, Liberation?
Well, this year's Love, Lies, Liberation, I would say that one of the most important things that came out of it was people got more involved, right? Each year we have really great panelists from psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, doctors, surgeons, historians, religious leaders, speakers, musicians. We've had people, over the years. And we put forth a lot of effort, a lot of conversation, but it's different this year was that more people got open. Right? We've always had audience participation, but now we got personal. We find out some people's nicknames that they grew up with, so we got to laugh about that. And what those nicknames really said about people. We had conversations concerning people's psyche. We talked about sex toys. Ooh, that was some quiet. It was quiet, pin drop quiet, right? So this year, I think the conversation, and it was every year, is that Black love is 365 days a year. But it comes like everyone else's. It comes with highs and lows. It comes with expectations, false expectations, real expectations. It comes with loyalty. It comes with infidelity. It comes with laughter. It comes with crying. It comes with pain. It comes with anguish. It comes with anxiety. It comes with... But the only thing that was missing when it comes to Black love that everyone else has is they had a manual. They have something that actually gives them guidance as to where they're going, what they're working for. The Chinese have Confucius, Shinzu, have certain writers that kind of speaks to Chinese feelings, right? What do they feel? How do the Huns feel about life and women and men and the things that they go through to make sure their families excel? The people from India, I don't want to call Hindu because they don't really call themselves Hindu, right? From India, they had the Kama Sutra. and it speaks about relationships, male-female interaction, and sex, bedroom, and mother and father, and how the family kind of is shaped and formed. But this year, I think people actually got to a point where they are beginning to accept that the science and art of sex, as taught by the men priesthood, the Love, Lies, Liberation Parchment, is the Black Manual. That it goes back to a papyrus, it goes back to an ancient writing that spoke to us. And so this year, I would say a difference was that people now are actually going, wait, so this book is actually, really, it's the manual. And so that part of it, the audience participation because of that. And people were more open because they, the first year, I'm sure people were like, what? It's a little too personal, right? Second year was like, oh, wow, this subject. Third year was like, whoo. This year was like, damn. You know what I'm saying?
So what's the difference between what you're saying and someone like Kevin Samuels or Bibi Shahrazad Ali or the people online having these conversations, the podcasts, the other churches? What is the difference in this messaging?
Well, first and foremost, Bibi Shahrazad Ali, hands up, hands down, face to the ground, knee to the ground, bow before her, because she's the mother of the conversation.
Absolutely, yes.
Right? She's the parent of the conversation. She's having this conversation when no one else was. But she gave homage or respect to her teacher, the Baba, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Right, and that doctrine that he taught via the teachings of the Nation of Islam, the original teachings. So when you say Shahrazad Ali, there's no ifs, there's no ands. She wrote Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman, Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man. Are you still eating pork? How to tell if your man is gay? I mean, she wrote more than one book. I think people don't even recognize that. So she was having this conversation, and she was going up against the Terry McMillans and not against like she was out to get them, but they were versing her, the Terry McMillans, the Eliana Van Zandt, who now is saying, oh yeah, I could do polygamy, right? But she was I'm a Yoruba priestess, right? And not just took it, but Bibi Shahrazad Ali, she took it with nobility, and stood her ground, never wavered. 30 plus years of doing it, right? Over 30 years, because I read her book, I was 16, 17, I'm 51. So she's been doing this over 3 decades and have taken all the shots that they threw at her. So she gets nothing but beyond respect, love, beyond respect. She gets praise, she gets adoration, she gets, she gets beyond flowers when it comes to.
Because it's easy to jump in the fire when the fire.
When it's sexy, when everybody's doing it.
Yeah,
everybody have a relationship.
So it's easy now. It's like, okay, I'll jump in there because this person. But she did it when nobody said it.
When nobody said it.
So that's when.
So she gets respect. The late great Kevin Samuels, who himself praised her and was working on some things that they were supposed to do together before his untimely death. But what he was doing, he was hitting it. He was making those points, and he was doing it again when it wasn't sexy. A lot of the people now. Jumping in because his fire's not hot, it's lukewarm. When I wrote the book, before it was called the revised Love, Lies, Liberation, the Science and Art of Sex, I wrote a book called The Science and Art of Sex. I wrote this back in 2005. So at that time, nobody was talking relationships either, right? It wasn't the thing. You didn't have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and TikTok, and none of these things didn't exist. So we didn't have the ability to bring it to people's homes, right? We were on Ustream. I don't even think Ustream had started yet. It was MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That was back.
It was MySpace. I'm telling my age, right? And at that time, wrote the book, and some people were taken aback. What kind of book is this? How could you write this book? Some people thought, oh man, the pictures, oh wow, the positions, oh wow, the titles. So they loved that part of it. But we understood that this book it doesn't stand on its own. It's a part of solar biology, writing the solar biology versus lunar astrology, writing Taweret and the sacredness of birth, and writing the science and art of sex. They're actually one book, but I was told at the time, rightfully, that no one's going to read this textbook. It's too big. So I ended up having to chop it up into 3 pieces, and that's what became Science and Art of Sex. And between now and then, when you say what's the difference, when it comes to Bibi Shahrazad Ali, I stand behind her as a son, because she's old enough to be my mother. So I stand behind her as a son. I stand on her shoulders, right? And the shoulders of so many other great teachers. In fact, my teacher, Baba Tumray, wrote a book, Sex Life of a Muslim. And he wrote this back in the 70s. And it was really like, yo, he tripping, he bugging, right? And which I read back in '85. I think I was 12 years old when I bought it and I read it. And it helped to shape my understanding of relationships and sex and everything else. So, but now today you got everybody jumping on the bandwagon. You got the great Steve Harvey and Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. Great book, great read. But it didn't change much. It did a lot of sales, which, respect. Did a lot of conversation. It, started the conversation again. But it didn't address the realities. To the point that even his daughter, it didn't work for her, right? That's just the way it works. I'm not taking shots. Just when you're in the public light, they're gonna go after me one day with my children. And anything they find, they're gonna say it. So I'm cool with that. I always say, tell your story though. You don't gotta worry about it. But what we do that's different is this book is a part of a way of life. See, when Bibi Shahrazad Ali wrote The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman and The Black Woman's Guide to Understanding the Black Man, she was coming from a way of life. She was coming from a doctrine. Her doctrine was the doctrine of the Nation of Islam. Her teacher was the Baba, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger. So that's why it worked. But so many people who read it and it didn't work for them is because they did not want to take the lifestyle. See?
Okay.
Go ahead. No, go.
But why does lifestyle have to get in people's bedrooms? Because they would say, well, stay out in people's bedrooms.
Oh, yes.
Why does the lifestyle have to penetrate that conversation of bedroom talk?
Well, here's the reality.
What we're doing
here's the reality. People say stay out of people's bedrooms. But the fact is, everybody done bought their bedrooms to the internet. I ain't nothing about me staying out in nobody's bedroom. People are on the little girl on TV talking about her pee hole pink and her pee hole is brown. I didn't go into her bedroom to discover the color of
She bought her bedroom.
She bought her bedroom to the street. So the idea of, it's easy to say stay out of other people's bedroom, but it's another reality that the bedroom is now in front of us. It's in the music. It's on social media. It's on television, it's in movies, it's political, it's on the news, everyone's talking about it. It's a back and forth situation that keeps happening. You understand? So the bedroom's outside now, right? People are more refined at home and more exposed in the streets. People are wearing lingerie in the streets and wearing a muumuu and a chamois, whatever, in the bedroom, right? They're covered up. So that's just the reality of it. We need to have a conversation because the black family is struggling for it. See, culture, spirituality, doctrine. You can't just grab Confucius is not just a writer, was not just a great seer, prophet, wisdom orator. He was a part of a culture. Confucius was a part of a culture. That culture was called Taoism. Or some say Taoism, they spell it T, but it's Taoism. So the Taoist text, Confucius was one of the Taoist writers. So Taoism, which comes out of Hinduism, you follow? Hinduism gives birth to the Taoist text. You follow? Gives birth to Zoroastrianism. You follow? So these texts are all interconnected, though the philosophies, how Hinduism becomes reinterpreted for Chinese or Hun people, it shifted. How it becomes interpreted for Aryan people of Iran, the Zoroastrian, it shifted. Everyone's shifting it. Well, we Africans had our own text. And that text comes with a culture. The great teacher, Baba Neely Fuller, right? When he talks about the counter-racist code and he takes us through this journey of religion and economics and labor and sex gender, right? So when you start dealing with sex, then you're dealing with gender. Now, of course, today they say you can be whatever gender you want to be, but that's not culture, right? That's anti-culture. It's like anti-Christ is anti-culture. So these are anti-cultural things. We're talking those things that are Christian or Nazarite or true Islam, Nation of Islam, true Hebraic doctrine, Baba, Ben-Ami Israel, etc. These true doctrines, when you get there, they come with rules. They come with regulations.
Okay. Stop right there because we're going to look at some of those rules and regulations. But just like with anything else, right? We need to see a before and after. And I know, people of my age group, they understand that because you do the filters, you do the before and afters. This is something we see online every day. So we're going to take that concept and see it in real time in this conversation on what is taking place, and when you apply culture, what it will look like after, right?
Okay.
Because we want to know that this manual works. So we're going to kind of revisit the conversations that you went through this year in Love Lies Liberation.
Okay.
What the issue is, and then what culture does to fix that issue.
Okay.
And one of the topics, I'm trying to pull one of the topics that really.
I know one of the subtopics was this idea of I don't need no man, I don't need no woman. That idea, culture fixes it because culture says absolute purpose of relations, interactions between male and female per the bedroom. Ultimately, it is to produce and to create life. That life can be business, that life can be children, that life can be home, but it's about creation. The purpose of sex is creation. Every animal knows that. For some reason, man struggles with it, right? The purpose of it is to create, to bring forth an opportunity. Every time the lion copulates with the lioness, it's with the intention of bringing forth children. Doesn't mean that every year every lioness conceives.
Right.
Sometimes they don't. But all of those lionesses that are slept with is to increase the potential for children to be born so that the pride may grow. And because it's a larger pride, it has a better opportunity to hunt. The more people you have hunting, the better your chances of bringing down the zebra. That's understood, right? So we in culture know that the moment someone says, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, you're now anti-culture.
No, some people don't just say I don't need a man or a woman, but some people, right, because I'm speaking for the people that I've spoken to or what I see, they want a relationship, right? And they want a successful marriage, they want a family. But once they see that they're not coming in contact with a man that can provide that reality for them, they are just like, you know what, I'm gonna just focus on doing me. I'm gonna just focus on my business. And then when I get to that level, I'll meet a man.
But that's the problem.
On that level.
But that's the problem. See, they're making it the man. No, it's you.
How so?
It's you. Well, because the choices we make. Instead of saying, I am horrible at picking men. I'm horrible at it. I'm horrible at picking women. Let me turn to my culture, to my elders, to my community, to my nation, to my tribe, to my pride, to my flock, to my herd, to my pack. Let me turn to those who are better at it. That's how we used to do, right? You didn't go out as a man or woman, I'm going to go find me a wife. Not even in the 50s and 40s. Your church, your mosque, your synagogue, you chose from amongst that, and the imam or the rabbi or the pastor or the church mothers, they said, that's a good man. So we out here trying to pick on our own. That's why it's failing. It's not about me doing me. You can keep doing you, but you doing you with the same way of thinking. You're going to keep getting the definition of insanity. To continue to do the same thing over and over and over again the same way. I know people who've been doing them since age 20, male and female. And they're now 35, 36, 40, 45, still doing them, still failing. Because they're not affixing to something that has the rules. If I keep choosing my food based off of what I see, I'm going to keep getting bubble belly.
But a lot of the audience that's watching this, right? They don't have a church.
No discipline.
They don't. But
they have
it's
no
not
discipline.
That. They don't do religion.
No, they don't do
because
anything.
Religion lied to them.
No, they don't
right?
know. Which religion? Okay, so wait a minute. So because the white man lied to me, that applies to all Caribbean culture, all Native American culture, all Hindu culture. The white man lied to the Chinese during the Opium Wars. So did the Chinese, because he lied to them about white Jesus, did they throw away Confucius? No, because he lied to the Indians when the British Raj was ruling India. He lied to the Indians. They were East Indians or Hindus or Sanskrit. They were people who became Christian. I know people of East Indian descent that are Christian today, but did the predominant people, the population of India, did they reject their ancestors because the white man lied to them?
How can I fall back on something that I never had, right? In my
the same way,
lifetime,
the same way the Indians did. The Indians who went back, they were ruled for 60, 70, 80 years. So most of them that was around, they didn't have it. But they knew it existed.
So they had to find
So they had to go find it. The Chinese, it wasn't like Britain ruled India for 5 years. Britain ruled, if we look it up, and I'm doing this on purpose so people can, right? So let's look at how long did England rule India? How long
How long did he?
rule India? 89 years. So anyone born in those 89 years wasn't born with their culture.
That's true.
So after 90 years,
Okay.
so after
I can see
90
that.
years of being ruled, how'd they find their way back? Because they wanted it. They knew how important, they knew that what he given us ain't it.
Ain't it?
Go back. Sankofa, Umbut, go back. Now, how long did England rule China? And this is the importance of history.
Yes.
156 years. That's a long time. Everybody, that's two sets of 75.
But
Take
you
it.
still see Chinese
But
culture.
yet, so it's not that, don't make it, please understand. The difference is they said, we going back. We
Okay.
who have been captured, enslaved, and colonized in melanin skin, we chose to go forward using their system. So when they left out, we still kept wearing wigs in our parliamentary courts. In China, the Chinese judges wear wigs? No. In India, the Indian judges wear wigs? No. But in all the former British colonies of African descent,
You see the way. Okay.
you understand? So I'm not just a pastor. I always tell people, I'm a scholar. There's a difference.
That's true.
I study everything on what they would call a polymath. A polymath is a person that masters 10, 20 subjects. I don't just have a PhD in religion and language. I masters everything. And I said masters for the people listening on purpose, right? So they're going to understand what I'm
That's
saying.
true.
So when I speak, anytime people speak to me, you're going to hear me say, no, that's not true. Both of them were ruled for over almost 100 years apiece, plus. So how'd they find their way?
Okay.
Right? Because there were still people there that may have had it, and they went to those people. There's people in Africa that have it. There's people in America that have it.
But we don't want it.
But we don't want it. We want the cake, the ice cream, the sprinkles, but we don't want to get in the kitchen and sweat and mix and crack the egg and mix the flour and add the baking powder, a little bit of baking soda, a little bit of vanilla, and a little bit of milk, and a little bit of this, and some brown sugar and some honey, and scrape the marmalade. We don't want the work, we just want results.
So this has something to do with living deliciously.
It has something to, we got caught up.
So
We got caught up.
let's go back for a second, right? Because you're talking about this male-female interaction. Why is it necessary? Again, you said culture, but why is it necessary for a male and a female to be in a relationship together? Because some people feel like they can exist without that man. Not that they are
they can
against the
exist,
man.
but that's
They
true.
love the idea of the black man, but
Right.
they don't see
And they can.
the necessary
They can exist without a man or woman. I didn't say you can't exist without a man or woman.
exist how.
No, it just means but you can't perpetuate your genealogy. See, there's a difference, right? I'm 20, living my life, having my fun, traveling the world, hanging out, smoke a little bit, drink a little bit, have some sex, go to the club, have friends, pay my bills, education, non-education, whichever way, living life. That works in my 20s. My 30s come, a little bit of fun, still making it rain and with pushing it up and hands up and, whatever, turn it up and YOLO. All right, cool. I hit my 40s. All right, there's still people clubbing it up, 40s.
That's
Some
true.
people 50s, still clubbing it up, drink a little bit, smoking that, wonderful. 60s, all right, cool. 70s, okay, now. 80s. Now, by 80, if we're still alive, I don't care how much you want to party, your body can't party the same way. You're going to sleep when the sun go down.
I don't think people even care at that point. They, I don't
No,
think
but
people think that
here's
far
what
ahead.
happened. I know, and that's what they've said. They did a study about youth, and they said the beauty of youth is to not have to care.
Right, that's true.
And youth always believes there's going to be a tomorrow
Mm.
until you run out of tomorrows.
Mm.
And then you have a generation in their 60s and 70s and 80s that are now going. And unfortunately, you're in a society where nobody cares about that generation.
That's true.
So we can let the youth of 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 keep saying we're young.
Mhm.
And that works. That's fine. But do understand, I tell anybody, if you're not sure what that looks like, go visit an old folks home. Go visit. Just I wanted to see, I wanted to see what it's like. I think I might put my mom here and let them walk you through. When they open the door and the urine hits you, the urine scent. No, anybody's ever been. I've been. I used to volunteer at them,
yes.
and that urine, when that pee scent hits you,
Yeah, it's not
you say to yourself, "I don't want to end up
here.
here."
Yep. That's
So
right.
the conversation is that. You follow? That's the conversation. Where do you want to end up? If you don't care, then keep doing what you're doing. This book ain't for you. The book is for people who want to fix it before it's too late. The people that are like, yo, I'm living me, I always tell them, I say, do one for me. I don't smoke weed, but keep smoking. Now when they say you got lung cancer, oral cancer, gum cancer, lymphatic this.
Okay. Okay, let's look at it another way, right? The absence of that man or woman, that presence, what does it do? What's the frustrations that comes with it? How does it change your polarity?
Well, it makes your hormones imbalanced. We're running around, black men are hormonally imbalanced. Now I said it that way because I knew right at that moment all the women watching went, that's right. But black women are also running around hormonally imbalanced. Am I still right? See how that works?
Right.
It's okay if you hit the men. Yeah, men, woo. Apples and pears coming, tomatoes at the stage. We're running around hormonally imbalanced because we were not designed to be alone. Mammals are not made to be alone. That's part of the mammal species. That's what mammals do. They nurse their young and they stay with their young. Even after their young get older, the monkeys don't be like, oh, you're grown, get out. Right? They stay together and you become a part of that society. Whales do it. Elephants do it. Tigers, lions, dogs, animals that are mammals stay together. Right? The non-mammalian species, that's where the problem comes in. The non-mammals, that's where the disconnect comes to play. When you're looking at people or who amongst humanity, there are those who have reptile behavior. And they look humanoid now.
Okay.
Right? There's people who are like, I'll nurse my baby. I ain't never, man, I didn't mess up my breast.
That's true.
That's a reptile.
Why? How is that a reptile?
Because a mammal nurses her young, has a desire to nurse her young because feels connected to young when nursing. So any creature who says it's a mammal but has no desire to nurse young, that is a humanoid reptile.
Okay.
Now I know some women going, hey, I didn't want to nurse. You said I'm a reptile. No, you say you're a reptile. I didn't say you're a reptile. I'm just telling you the science.
That's your nature.
The difference between a reptile and a mammal is a reptile does not nurse its young. Reptile skin peel? Yes. Mammal skin peel? Yes. So it's not the skin peeling that's the issue. It's the connection to your young. Birds are in between mammal and reptile. That's why they're called raptors. They're a part reptile, but on its way to being a mammal. It's amphibious. It has webs between the fingers. So birds will feed their baby birds and then leave. Reptiles, I'm going to sip my eggs. When they hatch,
You out.
good luck. Some reptiles will even eat some of the young because it's a meal ready to go, right? So we have amongst people, every black woman, every black man, every white woman, black, whatever race, everybody's not mammal. Some people, a lot of people, a good amount of people walking around a reptile in mammalian appearance. And if you get in a relationship with that person, you're not getting love and compassion and care, and they don't give two sugar honey iced teas about anybody.
And that's why you said, do you know who's
So who's in your, that's why we had that conversation. Who's in your bedroom? We touched on it. Next year I want to actually get into how do you figure out, because you can look at the cranial, you can look at the eye formation, ear positioning, jaw structure. There's a science to this.
To understand
who are you messing around going to end up with. Because if you end up with a full-fledged Dre God,
so when he or she are doing things and you're not understanding,
you don't know why. Like, what is your malfunction?
What's the
You're dealing with a reptile. They don't have human emotions. They're a reptile.
Okay.
It's like you're dealing with a sociopath. He doesn't have feelings. He can't feel empathy.
Empathetic, yeah. So it's not more predominantly males or females.
No,
It's
the planet we're living on. But again, that's doctrine. But if you take the doctrine out, I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know why she be acting all crazy. Right? Crazy just became the term to group everything.
Crazy became normal.
Right, crazy
They're
became
just
just crazy. No, they're not just crazy. They have a predisposition to behave a certain way. Right? When you talk to the doctors like Dr. Nicole Ford, when you talk to the doctors like Dr. Guy Gentil, when you talk to the doctors like Dr. Shirlene Chase, when you talk to the doctors like Dr. Dias Tucker, when you talk to the doctors like Dr. Elaine Ferguson, when you talk to the medical people, they go, no, this person has certain psychopathic and sociopathic traits. Today, instead of what people do, you know, everybody I don't like is narcissist.
Yes, that's the best. That's
He's narcissist.
number one word. Yeah.
Everybody, no, you might be the narcissist.
That's true.
But we just, anything I don't like, narcissist. Everything that make me feel bad, you're gaslighting me. Everything's not gaslighting. Some things you just don't know how to cope. Some things you just need a culture. Some things you just need to read a little bit more. You follow? You know, I want a good man. I want a man with 6 figures. No, you should be saying I want a man with an education. And I don't mean a degree. I said an education.
Okay, what do you
There's a difference. A degree is a piece of paper, like sociology, anthropology, medicine, religion. That's a degree, right? It's a percentage. And education is well-rounded. Not just in my field of study, but in the field of everything I'm going to come in contact with in this journey called life, and in this thing called relationships, and in this thing called child rearing, and in this thing called family. I must be familiar with everything in order to be able to put those things into a familiar setting, thus creating what's called a family environment. There's rules to this. But again, I'm coming from Love, Lies, Liberation, the Science and Art of Sex. So when I'm speaking, people are like, wow, I love the way he put that. No, you love the way the ancestors put it. I'm quoting the ancestors. The problem
you have to be willing to live that.
You have to be willing to live it. And most people don't want to live it. They want the beauty of it.
Right.
But they don't want the works.
Okay. So now we're at a time where men are starting to speak up, right? Men are
starting to be heard.
They're starting to be
Men
heard.
have always been speaking up.
Have they?
We've always spoken. But we were muted.
Nobody listened.
You're not listening.
Okay.
I can be talking, but if you ain't ready to hear, women are ready to hear more now. Why?
Because they're not getting...
Because not enough men.
That's true.
Because there's not enough men. When there's not enough men,
necessity
necessity is the mother of all invention.
That's true.
Men are now necessary. Diana Van Zandt said we wasn't necessary. Now she'll switch up now and say
now
we was,
she
but
says.
you know, back in the 80s and we wasn't necessary. We can do without that and do this, and that's not what I meant. Okay, but that's what you said. Broke up with a lot of good relationships. Terry McMillan, Stella was having her groove back and all that craziness. Men were not necessary. But men are becoming necessary again.
Because the numbers are off.
No, because the white race has decided, besides the number being off, they're going back to traditional family values.
What do you mean by that?
The country, America, England, is saying we no more abortions. So if I get pregnant now,
That's it.
I gotta have this baby. So now I gotta think about who I'm getting with, and they're going after them. They're going after the morning after pill, and they're going at condoms is coming next. What's gonna happen? So what's gonna happen when you can't use condoms? The pull-out method, everybody's pull-out game ain't tight, ain't strong, right? So what happens when condoms become illegal? Because the white race, the melanin recessive people of the world, the Indo-Aryans, and they're struggling to have children. They're averaging one child, less than one child per family. the Chinese, the Japanese,
That's
the
why they
Japanese
need
population. So they need melanin. So while you saying and I'm saying I don't need a black woman and you don't need a black man, other races like I'll take you. But then, but when they take us, it's for them to rule.
Right.
So now black families are starting to go, wait a minute. Intelligence amongst us. Now the fools amongst us, they still doing what they do. I can't talk to the fool. The fool
In
ain't
fact,
watching.
there's
Fool's not watching Vantage Point. They're not
Right.
gonna watch this.
That's true.
They're not. The fool ain't watching this. They're watching Booty Hole Pink and all that. That's what they watching. Intelligent people are saying the black man and black woman is necessary. It's not I want a wife or wives. I need a wife or wives. I need. The need
Wait,
is
did
not.
you say wives with an S?
Yeah, it
Okay.
could be an S. It could be a Q. It could be an aura. Wiverisms, right?
I think that's a problem for most people.
Well, no, it's not. It's the honesty of it is a problem for most people. The creeping around ain't. Bunch of women sleeping with a man who's married. And they're okay that his wife don't know that they exist.
But
as
he's
long as
telling them that they're going to leave the
no,
wife to
they
be with
not.
them.
No, man ain't telling that. No, that's a myth. That's a myth. Most women, the guy is not saying he gonna leave his family. The guy is saying, look, I can't leave her because my children. And most women will say, okay, well, as long as you look out for me. So that people are afraid of what people are going to think about them if they get out.
Because it's not supposed to be
because it's not
socially
supposed to be
accepted.
so. But now that threesomes are socially accepted,
That's the part.
now voyeurism is socially accepted. Buggery is socially accepted. Wife swap, husband swap is socially accepted. Twerking, thotting,
Everything.
hotting. I don't know all the slangs.
5 sons,
All of
7
that is
sons.
socially accepted. A girl says she slept with 2,000 people and people didn't really bat an eye. She's a rapper. I don't know her name.
She's
right?
good.
Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla. What's the other one? Sexy Red. So what's accepted?
Yeah.
I don't see why we as adults can't even have a conversation when everything else,
It's accepted.
scripturally speaking, spiritually speaking, culturally speaking, a man with more than one spouse is the only thing that's indigenous. African, Caribbean, Native American. People say, I'm Cherokee. That's why I got wavy. I don't have no hair, right? I'm Cherokee. That's why I have good hair. Well, the Cherokees have polygamy.
Because it's in a man's nature to
No,
be
because it's
polygamous.
in survival's nature to be polygamous. What do I mean? Polygamy was not established for men. Polygamy was established by women for women because there weren't enough men.
So you're saying women created
African women.
African women.
Intelligent African women.
Intelligent African
Beautifully and intelligent. They were who
created
had
polygamy.
land and resource. Listen to what
So
I just
they
said. Listen to
weren't-
what I
they
just said.
weren't just-
Listen to what I just said.
Okay.
The women in Europe who signed on to monogamy couldn't own land. Only do their father or husband or their son. If the husband died, the money went to the son. Couldn't own land. Couldn't this, couldn't vote, couldn't that. All the stuff that women be like, they're holding us back. That was white people. That was Indo-Aryans. That was melanin recessive of the Orient, holding back women. African women were queens. Queen of Sheba shared her husband. How do you know? They said she married Solomon, who had 1,000 wives, 700 wives, and 300 concubines. So Queen of Sheba shared her man.
And she was a queen.
And she was a queen. Queen Makeda shared her man. Queen Karoma shared her man. Yasantiwa shared her man.
Ladies, are you hearing this?
Pocahontas shared her man. Then she got kidnapped by Captain John Smith, and that didn't go well, right? All of these great women who had land, resources, were bowed to by other men, yet they still shared their man.
For their children.
For themselves, because there wasn't enough men. Nature made it where there's more women than men for black people. I'm not talking about the people who say, well, I looked online and the planet is 50-50. Right, but I don't want to get with Becky. I don't want to weaken my genetics. The lions don't be like, oh, there's not enough male lions, but there's more hyenas out here. So the female hyena gonna have the female lioness is gonna go sleep with the hyena because there's not enough lions. No, she's like, no, but you're
You're a hyena.
You're a hyena.
Yeah.
I don't see zebras going, man. We're running out of male zebras. I'm gonna go check out these wildebeest.
Right, that's true.
You don't see that.
No.
Everybody understands it don't matter what your numbers are. I'm going to be with me for the sake of me, mine. So these divine mothers, like the zebra, females, like the lion females, like the hippo female, like the whales, like every other species understood the importance of breeding, mixing, procreating after your kind with your species.
Mm-hmm.
We're the only ones falling for the okie doke. And here's what's strange.
Mm-hmm.
Before white people's numbers were dying,
Mm-hmm.
they had laws against interracial.
It's true. Yes.
But once their numbers start dying,
mix.
you marry who you want to marry.
Marriage
now.
is open.
Oh yeah, it's open now, open season.
Mm-hmm.
You see how it works?
Yeah.
So we're saying no. You keep mistreating me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let you die off.
Mm.
I don't gotta fight you. Just don't mix with you. You'll die off.
Right.
The quickest way, if a creature is going extinct, is that me or God?
That's God. That's nature.
That's nature, because Africa ain't going extinct. They say Africa's going to be the world's largest population, still growing.
Mm-hmm.
With all of our poverty, they say, because I know better.
Mm-hmm.
With all of our struggles, they say, because I know better.
Mm-hmm.
With all the propaganda about the diseases in Africa, they say, because I know better. With all the crap with Africa,
Mm-hmm.
with all your great health care, you can't procreate.
Mm.
With all your superpower missiles and nuclear bombs and ability to make food GMO and mass produce and all your movies and your Hollywood, you can't procreate. You're going to die off. All black people got to do is do black love and watch them die off. Your problem will go away. Give them 50 years, they'll be gone. Give them 200 years, they'll be gone. But we just got this thing where we don't want to turn back to culture, so we're going to go mixing with them. So these divine mothers, they made that decision that we don't have enough men.
Mm-hmm.
So either we gonna do lesbianism,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're that, then you're not culture, because the purpose of sex is procreation. And as far as I know, 2 women can't go in the bedroom and come out pregnant.
That's true.
2 men can't go in the bedroom and come out pregnant. So I'm not a purveyor or supporter of the LGBTQ community. I don't hate them, but that's not what culture is.
Mm-hmm.
That's anti-culture,
Mhm.
because the purpose of sex is procreation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so with your experience and your professionalism in polygamy.
my professionalism, I've never been told it's professional. Okay, my experience in it, yeah,
Your
having lived
experience,
it.
right? What seems to be the issue? Aside from people don't want, people to know because they'll be
That's it.
judged. And
That's it.
so jealousy is not an issue.
Well, no,
Um,
jealousy again. If you bring to culture the illusion,
mhm.
then you're unable to deal with what the reality is. Right? If I say, okay, I'm gonna do polygamy as a female, and I don't even like the name. If I'm gonna join in a family where we're sharing a man as far as the relationship, right? Then, and I don't mean sharing a man at the same time in the bedroom. So I want to be clear for the people that's gonna twist it,
twisted.
right? Because we're living in 2024.
Mhm.
But if I'm sharing a man, then I understand, okay, this man's traveling, I'm with this man, we're gonna be more around each other because we're traveling. Or this person is over here, they're gonna see this person more or less. So because of that, this is gonna be the situation when they do see each other. I can deal with my reality. But if a person is bringing, if I'm a man or you as a female, if we're bringing the illusion of the world where the relationship is about me, my marriage, my family, my house, my refrigerator, my food, that's a part of the anti-culture. You follow? When you looked in the indigenous cultures of Africa or the natives of the Americas, they had rules, but again, that was a culture. So this idea of what they're calling polygamy, or some women, people that say, well, I can't be with no man with some other women, but how many people are coming to the relationship with virgins, men and women that are both virgins?
Mhm.
So you're with a person that's been with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
And
But you're telling selfish people in the sense of
right, but now
me, my mind, to be selfless.
No, I'm not. I want to speak to the selfish person. I want them to stay selfish for a minute. Because I want everybody to stay in the me, my mind. For the book to work, I don't need you to jump out of selflessness and become, no. Tell me about the selfish you. You want the man to yourself, got it. And you don't want to share your man, got it. And you want your family to do well, got it. And you do good. So it's about self-preservation, right? Self-preservation. You got it? Good. All right. You single? Yeah. All right. There's 500,000 extra women in Jamaica than men. Talk to me, selfish person. What you gonna do? I want the selfish person to tell me what they're gonna do. You are a woman. There's 500,000. Bahamas, 15,000, almost 16,000. You're selfish. I want to talk to this. I'm talking to the single. The woman that has a husband, I understand she's selfish or she's locking
That's
it down.
what I was going to say. The selfish person is not always the single person.
No.
The married person could be the selfish person, which doesn't
Good.
allow for the single people to join
Good.
into
Okay.
the
Good.
family.
Good. So then I go to the selfish married woman,
Okay.
and I say the same thing. You got your family, yeah. Everything's perfect here. You love it, yeah. It's about you, great. You sending him out here every day, right? How's that working out?
What do you mean?
How's that working out? You sending him out here every day with 500,000 extra women.
He's coming home to me.
Wait,
He's
he
coming
always
home
gonna come home
the
to you.
baby, and he's
But
coming home to
right? But what is he doing before he comes home? You over here stressing. You looking at his phone. You checking his email, his Facebook, his Twitter. This is what's happening.
That's true.
So
So you're saying he's definitely cheating?
no, I'm saying you're sending him out here. How many of these same women don't have enough sex with their husband? It's another part of the conversation. So you send them out here fully loaded. Because there's women now on the internet saying, "No, you got to drain him up. Don't send him out there like that." Right? I'm laughing, right? But they're not having sex. Women are getting married. They're giving all the sex up until the marriage. Because men are talking now, and then once the marriage happens, so now what's going to happen? So you got this man, everything's perfect, but you're not, whatever is the situation. And now, so you're sending him out here fully loaded with pheromones blazing. That other women who are single can smell it, can feel it. They can feel the testosterone coming off his pores. How's that going to work out? So I want to talk to the selfish person. Now, you can hold that position, and a lot of women choose to hold it. I've been through that.
Okay.
And they get the divorce, and then they jump back in the queue of trying to find a man.
Okay.
So, or you can know who he's with, work with the person, and keep your family intact. What you gonna do, Miss Selfish Person? I just can't do it. Okay, well then that's it. Then this conversation ain't for you. I'll see you in 10 years. Iyanla Vanzant couldn't do it back in 1990s. She's 71 years old now. She said, I could do polygamy, but who wants to do it with you now? No disrespect to her, but y'all know what I'm saying.
Yes.
You ain't gonna want an 80-year-old, because that's an 80-year-old to do with you, but you 71, you gonna want somebody 50. I'm not. I'm
not
good.
doing that.
Right? Why?
Okay. So as part of it, the fact that I believe, because you said this, and I know it rocked a lot of sisters, right? Because I've heard comments that we're not the catch. So as a part of it, the fact that I believe I'm this person that has, such value and that has such, you know what I'm saying? I'm the prize. But you want me to lower my standards to allow someone else to. So is it a part of the fact that we believe that we are the prize in the relationship?
Part of the problem is you are as important as the culture you're affixed to. In what's called black culture today, what are women seen as?
What are women seen as in black culture today?
If I go to BET, I see the commercial at night. Black giving you BET plus, black culture.
Yes.
All right. What I see on the screen, describe it.
Oh, you see women dressed to the T, right? They have
Undressed to the T.
well, okay.
Undressed to the T.
Okay. You got me on that one.
Right, because they're naked.
Yes.
Okay, so undressed to the T.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. They get hair.
Fake
look.
hair, fake to the
Bomb.
T. All fake to the T. Go ahead. So we got fake, undressed, loud, screaming, sexually ready to screw people. So yeah, you're the catch. If that's what you're being caught. When I said that to women, I was talking numbers. If there's 15,962 as of 2022, more women in Bahamas, black women than black men, supply and demand. People who say I want a 6-figure man should understand supply and demand. If there's more supply and this is less, the thing that's less will be more in demand. The thing that's more will be less in demand. Why is it black women can't find nobody? We're the least people everybody wants to date, but we're the most educated. Well, I'm going to say that again in slow motion for the people in the back of the bus. Black women are the most educated of white women, black men, white men, Chinese. You are the most educated in America. Yet you are the least dated. Why? Because someone lied to you and told you your education. White women, this is Bibi Shahrazad Ali. White women go to school to find a husband. Chinese women went to school to find a husband. Most of them come out of university with a husband. You come out of university with only a career, and then you chase the career and relegate the husband to a non-necessary factor until later. Then later catches up to you. Now you're desperate. And you're desperate in a market that says supply and demand.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you got to settle and all that. That's all capitalism. And in the capitalist regime, you're going to have to make a choice. Knowing that at the end of the rainbow is a park bench with squirrels and bird or an old age home. Because if you don't have children, and those children don't have a father to help raise those children, they will not be able to provide for you. When you get older, you're going to end up in an old folks' home. That is reality 101. That ain't got nothing to do with me. You can mad, but I don't like what he said. I don't care. I'm going to still eat later. You follow? Yeah. The reality is culture, spirituality, a system.
Perhaps that's another conversation for another day as well, is exactly what is culture, because that word gets tossed around a lot. So people, when you say culture, people don't understand what that means.
Culture's written. Culture's written.
People don't understand.
But culture's written. Culture's written.
Okay.
Culture is manuscripts that's been written before all of this mess. Like I said about China, about India. They had culture because they had records that were written before the mess. Culture has to be that which was written before the mess.
But I've seen a video where someone asked a Muslim woman, which they might say that's a culture, right? You know, is sex toys permissible? Right. And she said it's not haram.
Right.
So that culture. So
yeah, but she didn't go to the book of that culture before the mess. The Quran says it is. It doesn't say sex toys are illegal. It says the way of the kafir, the way of the munafiq, the way of the conceal. Don't follow that way. So now show me a vibrator in Arabia 1820. It ain't there. All right, so then obviously you're adding to it. That's not culture. But they were asking a person. I mean, she was careful. She said, because we're in mixed company, so I gotta be careful, right? So she was. I saw the video. She wasn't like yes. She was just saying there's nothing written, right? The so-called Quran, as they call it, doesn't specifically address it. However, where the Sauds have played a hell of a game, when they talk about the people of Hud, in Mecca, there's an ancient society that built these pyramid-like, Abu Simbel-like structures that the Arab world don't want to talk about because they just say they were pagans. But these were African people, the original Cushites. These were Muhammad's people, and they were the ones, Abu Muttalib, his uncle and them, those were their people. And they have records that talked about relationships. But nobody wants to touch those records. Go online and pull up the people, the relics of Ad and Tamud, the great build, and you go, oh my God. But they'll say these were pagans. So the pagans built this beautiful thing, and the righteous people built nothing. And that's It's always the pagans doing the pyramids, the pagans doing the Zimbabwe, the pagans, we're the pagans. No, you're the pagans. So again, in culture, I'm talking melanin culture, I'm talking melanin records. The Arabian people, the original blacks or people of Arabia were purple, blue, black. The people that are there now are East Indians who migrated across the Hijaz and brought certain Aryan practices such as slavery that they said Muhammad came to get rid of. Let's have a real conversation. Right? I'm Muslim. For too many years I was Muslim, so they can't run that on me. Right? Been there, traveled, seen. They can't run that on me. They can run it on some other people, but not here.
Okay, so while we're here on culture and sex toys, then was it a different culture? First, what's up with the sex toys? Was it another culture who brought it? Why?
Yeah, well, in Kama Sutra, right, which the Aryans would help influence, they brought in the worship of sex organs.
Sex organ.
Right. Okay. When you look at our ancient domes, those were breast, the womb, we called it Nut. And we gave reverence to understanding that through the womb of heaven we come, through the mother's vagina, her womb, we are all born. Tawarat. We understood that men, Amsu, right, this African ancestor with his erected phallic holding it as a sign that a man must be able to control his sexuality, not as a sign that he's just going around hitting everything. But when these people, the Aryan Hindus, not the black Hindus of the Harappan civilization that got pushed down into southern India today, that they call Dalits and other names, right? Not the Jawara and those people. Those were the original people. They were the original Harappan civilization of the Indus River and the Ganges River. Before the Aryans who come down through Iran from the Caucasus Mountains, which were the first group of Caucasians. They brought in this racism, caste system, subjugation of women. That was a caste system of the area. They were the first melanin recessive people on planet Earth that did not have an abundance of melanin. And because of their inferiority as it pertained to their lack of melanin and certain other things, they created a system, and their worship of the Nahushin, this reptilian god, right, that they worshipped, they brought in this racism, right, and this genderism. We didn't have that.
Okay.
All right, so let's be clear. And so by the time they get their hands on portions of the Kama Sutra, they began to insert in the Kama Sutra homosexuality. How to practice it, how to deflower a young girl. They literally put young girl, right? How to steal another man's wife. That wasn't a part of the original Vedic text. That was the Aryan insertion into the Vedic text. Right? The Mahabharata was one of the ancient texts that precedes the Kama Sutra. The Kama Sutra it inserts lucrative sexual practices. You sometimes see these statues of a man carved on the walls of India, and when you put this out, you can maybe add that in there, and you see a man on top of a goat or a donkey, right? That and bestiality, that was not a part of the original practices. So by the time you get to Kama Sutra, you're having two things: the Mahabharata, which is the Kama part of it, and then the Sutra. Sutra, from where you get the word Sudras. By the time they bring it over into Islam, the Indo-Arabs, they call it a surah. A verse, surah chapter, or sign, and ayat. Ayat sign, surah degrees. They brought degrees of their doctrine and inserted it into present day Islam. And a lot of people don't know because they're not, you're not reading. And if I'm saying this, instead of saying he's wrong, he's a kafir, he's kill him, instead of behead him, and then go and do some reading. Do some research and find out, so we are the original Muslims, we're original Christians, the original Hebrews, but somewhere along the line, the doctrine got watered down. So when we go back to the sex toys, they brought in what was two things. They had the worship of the lingam. The lingam was the phallic. You understand? And the worship of the yoni, and the yoni was the vagina. So they worship the yoni. Right, which you can see by the time it goes to Chinese philosophy, it becomes yin yang, yoni, right? And even in popular culture, they call it the il nana. They got all these words. And Nana Sin was a god in Sumeria. So you can see how they've moved through time and age and are always present. So they were worshiping your reproductive ability, because the black race, the Africans, your ability to procreate and engender life was seen as divine. So they created the worship of the yoni and the worship of the lingam. That was, we understood the importance of the vagina and the phallic. They took it to another level and began to copulate with yoni and lingam. You can go online and pull up. People are being arrested in India for tying the goat to the tree, 7 men, and raping the poor goat, and they got caught, right? Thankfully, right? So their insertion of that, how does it end up in America? Back in 1960s, during the Black Power movement, you had the free love generation come in. During that time, you had some people coming in from India called Hare Krishna, and the Hare Krishna was a part of that free love movement. And they used to be at the airports wearing flower child, but the Hare Krishna would shave their head bald. You can pull it up, Hare Krishna. And they were Hare, Horus the Krishna, the Christ. And they brought it in and they introduced Kama Sutra practices to the black community. Because during the free love, we went from Black Power, Ungawa, and started mixing with the white girls from the flower power generation and smoking the weed, and you know what I'm saying? It was called free love and free sex. And once that happened, we now got drug addicted. All of the black revolutionaries were getting taken out. They were getting, those who survived became hooked on drugs. And now the Kama Sutra was now influencing that. And so now everybody was doing tantric Kama Sutra, and the Kama Sutra now opened the door for woman on woman, man on man, and the door opened. And so by the time you hit the 70s, this group of people who had left the practice of dressing Hare Krishna and dressing free love, they now went into the disco clubs, and then you had the Saturday Night Fever, and then the disco was where men could twirl their hands and move their hips. John Travolta's Saturday Night Fever, the movie, he's moving his hips and all this stuff like some female, and then the homosexual community flooded in there, and the down low stuff began with the black men. So you can see how it moves through time and age. He's weakened us and weakened us. And then by the time you got to the 90s, they brought in crisscross, TLC, people wearing baggy clothing, girls wearing clothes that don't fit with patches, pants on backwards with what man puts a zipper to the back where his butt is. And what was happening to crisscross, they were being molested by Jermaine Dupri. That's all in the media. So you can see that the counterculture started doing, and then in time, the counterculture became the culture.
Right.
We went from Black Power in the 90s and the 80s when people was fighting, fight the power. Malcolm X movie came out. Everybody had back when Black, Red, and Green was in. You had X-Clan, to the East, My Brother. You had all this stuff. And then they flooded us with crap music after that, and everything was about money, and the music went from lyricists, the KRS-Ones, the EPMD. It went from lyricists that would rock him, rapping message music, and it went from Nas, and now you got Lil Nasty and Nasty Red and all this stuff, and the pendulum has hit the other side. So we ain't got no choice now. When you reach this far into the pendulum, we got to swing back the other way. We got to make changes.
So we reached our extreme point.
Well, I guess no, we ain't reached the extreme yet. Oh no, because you're gonna see it's gonna get worse. Oh, bestiality. The black community is now engaging in orgies, and once the orgies begin, bestiality will be next. Because now black people got pets. In the 80s, black people didn't have dogs in the house. Now black people got dogs, sleeping in the bed. In the 80s and 90s, we had dogs that was in the yard. In the 70s, it was in the yard. Now black people in 2024 got the dog sleeping in the bed next to them on a pillow.
That's true.
That's one step. You're in the wrong. We're moving in the wrong.
You're following someone else.
You're following someone else who's dying, who's going extinct. And his mentality is, if I can't have it, no one can. So he'll let you follow him to your own demise. Meanwhile, he's attempting to course correct family values. Family values. Why are they preaching family values? They got money. They're rich. They got name. They know who they are. They wasn't enslaved, so why are they preaching family values? Why aren't they saying no, bump family values? Because they understand it means your extinction. Love, lies, and liberation, folks.
So we're almost done. So I would like to go into the booklet as well, so I'm going to pull that up on my phone here. And when it's all said and done, right? We've been in relationships, and we've been hurt. We had so many different threesomes, foursomes, orgies. We had all these different things that have taken place in the black community. When it's all said and done, we're looking for this solution, right? So what are some things that you did not get a chance to say as it pertains to the conditioning, as it pertains to what it is that we need to know moving forward?
Inside the workbook, which we want to get to the people, I'm going to print it out so people can get it. Right? It's on digital form. One of the things the workbook, and we pulled it up before we started, there's a section in here that talks about your childhood reveals a lot towards getting to know yourself. When people say, I'm going to do me, it's supposed to be, I'm going to get to know myself. But not to know myself that I'm the victim and everyone's been a bad man or a bad woman. To get to know myself, to say, what role am I playing in the mess that I'm now living? What role, what did I contribute to this? Other than, because I believed him or I believed her. That's not, you contributed some stuff to the situation.
Okay.
So how do I get to know myself, right? Did you have a happy childhood?
Can we tell the people where we're coming from in the workbook so when they get it?
This is
Show me the
page,
page.
what page is this?
If you show me, is it this page here?
Yeah, that's the page.
Okay, the page before. Okay, so it says at the top, your childhood reveals a lot towards getting to know yourself. That's exactly what it says, and I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but we will give more details. Okay, continue, please.
Right?
Sorry.
Did you have a happy childhood? Did you have mom and dad there? Did mom and dad get along?
Mm-hmm.
It got to start there. And if the answer is no, that's where the problem began. You got to go back to go forward. When did I get did mom, as Bibi Shahrazad Ali said, did mom talk about dad when he wasn't around? They made me look at men and say, oh, they're not smart, they're stupid.
Right, they don't know
Let's be
what's going on.
honest, because people say, no, you check, you find out I don't listen to your father. Those little things set us off as women and men in the wrong direction. Did I have a happy childhood? Did I leave home early? Did I start sleeping around too damn early? Was I out in them streets at 13 doing stupidness? Real conversation. Got to be honest as a man, got to be honest as a woman.
Okay.
Right? Because as a man, you may have been 13 and you slept with the 21-year-old, you thought you was winning, but it changed your whole concept of women. I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from the person that was that kid that had to go, I thought I was winning. I hit the jackpot. It's like Jesus has come and Christmas at the same time with the Easter Bunny. And then realized years later, no, that was out of due time. I was not mentally prepared at 13 for a 19-year-old. Though I was physically thinking, and now I look back, I wasn't even physically prepared. I was just,
Was it going through the motions?
I was going, the motions was going through me, right? Things was happening to me and I didn't know why, right? And it would alter me, right? What was your favorite childhood memory? Some people don't even have a favorite childhood memory.
Or some people don't remember. We don't smoke so much weed, we be like,
Right. So I got to go back and figure that out. Right? What was your childhood fear? Because many of the same fears, I was afraid of bugs. I'm afraid of bugs, not me. I'm just using it as an example. I was afraid of cats. I'm still afraid of cats. If you're afraid of cats at 3, I understand. You're afraid of cats at 35 and 40 and 50, something's wrong. Right? And it's a fear you can overcome. You can overcome it. You go get a little baby kitten and you should start with that. To overcome your fears, because we live a life filled with fears. So now I'm afraid of cats. I'm afraid of dogs. I'm afraid of bugs. I'm afraid. So all these fears now play out.
In your relationship.
Yeah.
Wow. Because you would think what you're saying, and then I see questions like, were you a picky eater? How does that matter?
And I prayed when you interview Dr. Ford and those who deal with the mind, how do childhood fears restructure? When they did the little Alfred project, Freud and them, I think it was Alfred, I might be saying the wrong name, when, they would, the stuffed animal, and he grew up and he was always afraid of dogs. Or they did the Pavlov's experiment, where the dog heard the bell and salivated, right? These are ones that everybody,
familiar with.
You kind of be familiar with. My children's fairy tales breed adult religions. Children's fears breed adults' fears, right? My fear as a child, I was left at home all the time. Example, not my story, but just say. And in this house, I was always afraid. Because I was at home, mom had to work, dad had to work. I was a latchkey child. So always having to be at home by myself, I was always checking the locks, making sure it was locked. If sometimes the wind blew, I thought the lock was moved, heard a sound, somebody's in the house. All of these fears build up. So now, as an adult, I'm still afraid to be alone. So I'm going to settle. No, before that. I'm going to settle for a random girl or guy just to keep from being alone. And now if I'm settling for the random girl or guy, now I'm going through partners. But it's just because I don't want to be alone. So if I can just address my fear of being alone, then I won't be so quick to grab the wrong person to keep from being alone. That's what most women will say. I just don't want to be alone. I'm just tired of being alone. Sometimes in life, you got to be alone. Not because you don't need nobody, but just so you can find out who you are. But your culture will help you determine during that time period. While you're alone, what are you doing? Being alone in the house, just being alone, watching TV, eating ice cream and potato chips, that's not being alone. But are you reading? Are you improving yourself? Are you getting in better shape in your health, your cholesterol? Are you fixing something, or are you just spending time alone?
So to be clear, this time alone isn't I don't need the other person. No. This time alone is preparing yourself to be better for that other person.
To get to know yourself. First rule in every African system of thought, know yourself.
Know yourself.
Man, know thyself. Human being, know thyself.
Okay.
Right? Then it goes from there. It says what else? When you were a child, what did you want to be when you grew up? Because if you didn't become it, then you have a sense of failure. And the minute you think you're a failure, you think everything you touch.
It's gonna
Because
fail.
success
Mm.
breeds success.
Yeah.
Failure
Breeze.
breeds failure.
Mhm.
So if I didn't become the thing I said I was going to do, and I don't come to some understanding of why that didn't happen, everything else I touch from that point on, I keep going, what? Yeah, it seems like everything I try to do,
Not
nothing
working.
works. Well, nothing works because practice makes. So if I keep failing as a child, I'm going to become perfect at failing. There's people that are expert failures. They're
That's
great
true.
starters. They start a new idea. We're going to build a boat. And we sailing with Noah. And they start the boat, and they got all the boat. The oars are ready to go. Then they put the boat down. Then I'm going to be a rapper. Then I'm going to be a cop. Then I'm going to be a dentist. I'm going to be a fireman. And you know, this is real.
That's true.
There's people in colleges that change their major every semester.
That's true.
I know people, I graduated in 93 from university. There's people that I know that are still working on the next degree, on the same degree. I'm like, yo, what happened? No, I had to drop out. Then I went back. But then, I couldn't. I'm like, damn, dude, you got a 23-year, 4-year degree, right? But they were condemned. I'm not knocking nobody, right? You do it till you finish,
That's
right?
right.
But
Yeah.
ultimately, that person's being trained to fail,
Okay.
right? People think practice makes perfect. No. Practicing perfectness makes perfect. If I keep shooting the ball wrong a million
gonna get
times,
perfect.
I'm going to be perfectly good at shooting the ball wrong. My form has to be right. My knees have to be bent. Everything has to be perfectly aligned every time. And then practice doing it perfectly every
That
time.
makes you
That makes perfect. But keep doing the same thing the wrong way is not going to make perfect. It's just going to make you perfect at doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So people keep practicing relationships the wrong way. You keep doing it without culture and think it's never gonna work without culture. Well, I got a friend and they're not in culture and it's working. How long they been together? 6 months? Give them a year. They'll be back. Because that's a system designed for failure. It's not designed for success.
Okay.
Right? The book, the workbook goes on. What did you do for fun as a child? Some people don't even know what fun is. They're not having that. Fun is not dirty. Fun is clean. I don't mean dirty as in dirt. I mean dirty as in defiled. We call fun sucking down marijuana and putting carbon monoxide in our lung. We call fun getting oral cancer and having black fingertips and black lips, smoking cigarettes. We call fun drinking alcohol and go, damn, whew, let me get another one. That's not fun. That's recreation. There's a difference between recreational fun and clean fun. Recreation destroys creation. All the things we're calling creation are wrecking it. Smoking destroys you. Now you're in your 20s and you think smoking is cool. But what happens when you're 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and now your liver's failed, your kidneys have failed, your pancreas is done, your gums are now you want somebody to feel somebody go look out, nobody cares for me. Well, who wants to
You
be
didn't
around?
care for you.
Right. So I'm trying. I'm not knocking people that are sick, right? For the people who got stuff, it's your fault, but it's not because you were ignorant. But in your sense now, tell the next generation
So they don't do that.
so they don't do the same thing. That's all we're saying, right? I don't want nobody to email me because I probably ain't gonna answer anyway, right?
Yes.
What were some of your favorite movies to watch as a child? That's important. If you watch nothing but love and John, do you love me? Oh, Patricia. Oh, it's so good.
Notebook.
Then you're gonna the Notebook and the Benjamin Buttons. Nobody's gonna get younger, okay? You're not gonna get younger. That's not real. You're not gonna be born old and get younger while everybody else is getting older. So let that go, right? These movies.
It plays on your subconscious.
It plays on
mind.
the subconscious. So yeah, if you were watching Benjamin Buttons and Pippi Longstockings and The Sound of Music and the lady spinning on the mountain and you internalize that crap and you a deer, a female deer. You're not gonna be that. You're not gonna be up on a mountain in the middle of Europe singing. And if you are, they're probably gonna shoot you because you're black. So let that go, right? Let it go. But they're gonna play on your mind the movies you watch, right? If you watched enough movies that had a lot of love scenes, it moves you towards that. Was clean porn, soft porn they call it, right? And it moves you. Now there's this big thing where everybody's sending people videos of dogs and cats, they're commenting while the dogs and cats are having sex. That's bestiality. You're sitting there watching two animals have sex and laughing about it. That they're setting your mind up for bestiality. Just putting that out there, right? What was your favorite game to play as a child, right? If you played Pokemon or if you played Catch and Kiss, is breeding rape culture, right? Because you can take the girl and you can hold her. London Bridge is falling down. Take the key and lock them up, and you can handcuff. All of these games set up the mind because you running through the London Bridge is falling down, and they grab the two arms and they lock you up, and you laugh and you think it's fun. Now somebody's tying you to the bed with a handcuff, and you think it's fun, and it ain't fun, right? So the game. The psychological effects, Love, Lies, Liberation, the Science and Art of Sex, deals with African cosmology, theology, psychology. It opens the door for a real conversation.
Okay. Oof. All right. It's fire in here. Okay. So the workbook. People have to read the questions, write down the answers, and look at where or how it plays out in their current life now, their current reality, how they look and how it affected their past relationships, to see maybe it wasn't that person, but maybe it was me.
Right.
Because I had the wrong concept of love, or I had the wrong concept of reality. Yes.
They gotta. That's true, 100%. But they gotta take the workbook and then come and sit with us.
Okay.
I'm gonna go see Dr. Ford. She's my counselor, the conscious counselor. I'm gonna sit with her. She's gonna give me homework. And I'm gonna take the homework, do it, and grade myself.
Right. Like right. Wrong.
That's how it happens.
No.
I'm gonna grade my own test paper.
Yes.
No, I gotta bring it back to her so she can help me evaluate my answers.
Right.
This is not self-help.
Yeah.
Self-help is
Can't
obviously
self-diagnose.
failing.
Right.
You can't self-diagnose. It's failing. That system of self-help, these are self-help books. If they were working, where's all the millionaires they were going to create? I'm going to show you in 39 days how to flip houses. If you read my program, you're going to become the next Beyonce. It don't work.
Okay.
Beyonce didn't make Beyonce.
She had.
Beyonce's mama and daddy.
Yep, she had help.
Matthew Knowles sat down. They had a plan. Michael Jackson didn't make Michael Jackson. Joe Jackson beat him into Michael Jackson. You follow? Somebody has to make you. Somebody got to help you. I'm not saying I got all the answers, but I am going to be able to have an honest conversation with people. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to show you in the book what the ancestors said. Now, you can reject the ancestors and keep following the modern society, but how's that working for us? It's not. It's not. So get the workbook, get the answers, and then come let us evaluate once you don't know what the right answer is. Because that's the problem. You're going to do the workbook and don't know what the right answers are. And you're going to think as long as you answer honestly.
And your mind convinces you.
Yo, of course.
To put,
Hell yeah. I'm going to put the right answer. As a child, I only played red light, green light. Then I might say, how old is you? I'm 50. Well, you know you played Catch and Kiss. You know you played, what was the one we used to play running through the hood? Not Catch and Kiss. There was Manhunt.
Oh.
You know you played Manhunt. We used to play Manhunt in the abandoned buildings and underneath the projects and underneath Park Chester and the tunnels underneath. We played Manhunt. Not thinking that somebody can get snatched until somebody got snatched. And we're like, oh, this game Manhunt not good, right?
Yeah.
Right? We played Manhunt. We played Catch and Kiss. We played red light, green light. What's red light, green light? Somebody looks and they turn around and they look. But what is the condition of mind? Red light, green light. It's not about driving. A woman gives you a red light or a green light. A man gives you a red light or a green light, lets you know is it okay or not okay. And if they catch you, you got to go back. And we all cheated. No, you didn't see me. No, I wasn't moving. You a liar, man. I hate playing with you. But all of these games were conditioning our minds for certain behavior. Catch and Kiss was telling a girl when she got caught, she got to get kissed. What's the other game? Spin the bottle. You sit around, you spin the bottle, and the both of us go inside the closet. Truth or dare.
Oh, that was.
Truth or dare. How many people got messed over off of truth or dare? Because you went in the closet, now you got to kiss this boy because the dare was kiss the boy. Either kiss the boy or drink to that. Or do to this or do to that. And everybody played these games and messed up your life. Got set in the wrong direction. So when I say the games you play, I ain't talking about Uno. I'm talking about those games.
Talking about Uno.
All right?
Okay. So I hope that this information that was given today, I hope it's been enlightening. You are selling the recordings as well for Love, Lies, Liberation.
Yes,
can you say what each topic, if you remember, from the first week to the 5th week, so they know what's available for them to purchase?
Who's in your bedroom? You know, who you sleeping with? I think that was one week. Sleeping with the enemy. Then we did are you ready? Feminism, how feminism and chauvinism is destroying black love or the black family. We did the husband holocaust. Are you ready to share your man? Jamaica was black love in a white world. And then the innocent what's it called?
Greedy
The
penis.
greedy penis
and
and innocent vagina. Right, and I always say innocent penis and greedy vagina.
Yeah, of course.
Right, that's the generation we're living in. But so we went through these discussions. We talked about the sex toys and what the damage they do. Right, it's not about women. A woman's intimidated when a man has a sex pocket thing, or a man is intimidated by a woman when she has a vibrator. No, maybe it's just disgust and understanding the damage and the incubus. We didn't go into the incubus spirit. One of these days, if you bring me back on.
Okay, real quick.
No, incubus.
What is
that's
it?
a long one.
What is it?
Incubus.
Just brief. What is the incubus?
It's this demonic spirit that sometimes people have what's called sleep paralysis, where you're sleeping, you're waking up, but you can't move. And you feel like someone's actually holding you down. And amongst the ancient teachings, it was because when you sleep, they said sleep is the sister to death. So your body, your soul travels outside the body, but the body is left lifeless or semi-lifeless. And there are disembodied spirits that want access to that body. So that's the thing you feel pushing. The old people used to say the witch is riding your back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the incubus and succubus are those spirits that come to you in your sleep, where people have nocturnal emission, right? You ejaculate as a male or come as a female, the correct terminology for that moment. But nocturnal emission is the right way they would say it. And then you actually are having sex, you like, oh my goodness, and you see some girl or some guy, and they're like, oh man, this is, and then you wake up like, oh snap, it was a dream, what the hell just happened, right? That spirit has now moved into the inanimate world, right? They have a person who's has sex with inanimate objects. It's agoraphilia. Agoraphilia. I don't want to misenunciate it, right? But it's having, it's called agalmatophilia. Agalmatophilia, right? Which is the attraction to statues and dolls and mannequins and similar figurative objects. Agalmatophilia is people who turn to silicone dolls and things, and it's a mental condition, right, that people are suffering from.
So if you love sex toys,
it's like years ago they used to talk about people sleeping with mannequins, right? And we were like, oh man, we got caught with a mannequin. Well, now we in the bathroom with mannequins. And don't see the correlation, because when it's me, it's me, innocent vagina, nasty, greedy penis. But when you are able to stop and go, something's wrong. I ain't gonna submit to no man, but you'll submit to some plastic. I don't need no woman, but you need a mannequin. That's crazy. And then we go in the bedroom and we participate with the other person in their crazy. I'm not gonna help nobody I'm not going in the bedroom and doing crazy.
Well, you're supposed to explore sexual pleasures with your partner.
With your partner.
Way that it pleases them.
Right, but not with no Uber jacks.
I'm not saying
not with Abajix or Uber jacks. Not with no plastics.
But
isn't that funny though? The same people using the plastic doll and the plastic vibrators will say, I don't want to wear a condom because I can't feel nothing. I'm gonna leave it there.
Yeah. Okay. So, anyway, thank you all for tuning in to another week of the Message Point. Dr. Rama is causing trouble, but it was 5 weeks. It was on fire. I was just happy to be a part of it. It's really been a pleasure to be a part of each Love, Lies, and Liberation, and you learn so much. The reason we had this episode is because we have to change our vantage point. We have to change the way we look at things, the way we perceive them, in order to make any type of change. So I want to thank you again, Dr. Varma. We never take for granted the time you spend here with us. And I'm encouraging everybody, get the book, Love, Lies, Liberation. We'll put the link, we'll put the website. Purchase the recordings, because if you miss this year, you really want to get the recordings. And watch it. I don't know if you want to watch it with your partner or by yourself.
Yeah, watch it with your partner.
Watch it with your partner.
So you can't hide nothing from them later.
So you can't hide nothing from them later, right? And then come back, comment, and let us know what you think. All right, so thank you for tuning in, and we